If y'all didn't know, I'm a Sunday school teacher. Also, let's just take a minute for the outfit. This is what the back of the shirt looks like. Anyways, going back to what I was talking about before. So yeah, today's Monday, and this is what I taught the kids yesterday. So we're in this phase called Operation Jesus, and basically it's a big map, and they have little like roadblocks and obstacles they get through and stuff. And by the end, the goal is to kind of have them be mini disciples of Jesus. So today we learned, well, yesterday we learned what it was like to mirror Jesus. So I had them start out with playing charades, and it was animals they all knew, like a dog, a cat, a fish. And then on the last person, I gave them a card that was just some really random animal that I didn't even know what it was. And she goes, "What is this? I don't know what it is." I was like, "Yeah, you don't know what it is, so you can't be it, can you?" And she was like, "No, because I don't know what it is." And in the same way, if we don't know Jesus, how are we supposed to mirror him? The Bible tells us to be Christ-like, but how can we do that if we don't know what Jesus' character is? So then we watched some videos on Jesus' teachings, and I was like, "Can you teach on something you don't know?" And this little girl was like, "Yeah, no, you can't, because if you're an art teacher, you can't really teach science because you wouldn't know what science is." So when Jesus was teaching about humility, he would have to be humble too. And one of my main points is the quote, "God is love." And I talked about the Holy Trinity and how Jesus and God are the same thing, just in different forms. And I said, okay, so if God is love, that means that Jesus is also love. And they were like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, okay, so we're going to go to 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. Love is patient, love is kind, all of that, right? So I told them that. And I said, well, if God is love and Jesus is love and love is patient and kind, what does that make Jesus? And they were like, oh. So you can go through that entire verse and say, Jesus is patient, Jesus is kind, Jesus, like the whole thing, which is like so cool to think of. So they just were able to write down all of that. And I just had them keep that list. And I was like, okay, guys, like throughout your week, try to embody these characteristics. And if, like, don't be like a Christian, be like Christ, because I did kind of warn them, like, there are corrupt people out there. Like, there are people who say they're Christian, but they don't do the right thing. So look at Jesus as an example, not people in this world. And if you ever need to check yourself and see how you're doing, literally put your name. Is Brooks patient? Is Brooks kind? You know, etc. I also had this mirror, and I like drew a little like Jesus face on it, and it was really funny because I put it up to their face, and I was like, "What do you see?" And it was just kind of like, you can't see the inside of someone's character from the outside. So I'm not, when I say mirror Jesus, I don't mean grow a beard and, you know, all that. I just mean mirror Jesus' qualities and characteristics. So yeah, go learn about Jesus, go learn about the qualities and characteristics of him, and be Christ-like, not Christian-like. Love y'all.